Today, Mongolia is a small, mostly mountainous nation located between two global superpowers. But at one point, the Mongols had forged the largest land empire in history, stretching from the Pacific Ocean in the east to the Danube River in the west, encompassing over 9 million square miles of territory and one of the greatest military campaigns in history. This is the story of how Mongolia conquered the world. For 2 centuries, the area around Mongolia, Manchuria, and parts of northern China had been controlled by the Liao dynasty, but in 1140 they would fall to the Jin dynasty, which would result in several regions gaining independence, most notably the Mongolian plateau, which was now occupied by 5 powerful tribal confederations. Temujin would be born in 1162 to the chief of a Mongol clan. When he was only 9 years old, his father would be poisoned and killed by the rival Tatar tribes. Temujin would attempt to gain control over the chieftain, but he would be rejected and exiled with his family. For the next 6 years, Temujin and his family endured poverty and enslavement. Temujin would manage to escape with the help of his brother Jamuka and Togrul Khan, the leader of the Kharite tribe. They would begin raiding across Mongolia, gaining wealth and fame. But soon, Jamuka would become threatened by Temujin's rising power and his critical views on the aristocracy. Jamuka would split off from the main army in 1186 and return a year later with a much superior force that would decisively defeat Temujin at the Battle of Dalan Balzuk. Temujin's army would be crippled and his power would be destroyed. Over the next 10 years, Temujin would rebuild his force and lead several small campaigns against opposing tribes. He would make much needed reforms to the Mongol army by subdividing it into units of tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. Commanders were chosen by their men, except for the commanders of the 10,000s, who were handpicked by the Khan himself. This chain of command fostered flexibility, discipline, and loyalty, crucial for executing sophisticated maneuvers and giving the Mongol armies a distinct advantage for the next century. By 1200, the major Mongol powers would be split between supporters of Temujin and the supporters of Jamuka. In 1201, the leaders of the tribes would assemble a council and elect Jamuka as Khan of the Mongol people. Jamuka's acceptance of this title was the final breach between Temujin and Jamuka, leading Temujin to form a coalition of tribes to oppose him. In the fall of that year, a decisive battle broke out between Jamuka's alliance and Temujin's force. At the Battle of the 13 Sides, Temujin would emerge victorious, killing Jamuka and expanding his influence over most of Mongolia. But soon dissatisfaction would spread throughout the aristocracy and his generals, and in 1203 they would revolt, consuming the Mongolian plateau in 3 more years of war. After a decisive campaign, Temujin would defeat the last rebel army in 1206 and would be named Genghis Khan, uniting the Mongols for the first time in half a century. He would begin delegating authority based on skill and loyalty rather than tribal affiliation or bloodline, and introduced a code of law laying the foundations for his empire. Temujin would revolutionize the steppe world with unique government reforms and influential leadership. In early 1206, Genghis Khan would make his first major incursion on a non-Mongol power. He would turn his focus south to the Western Xia dynasty. The Mongols would move unopposed through their lands, plundering the open country and destroying fortifications, as the Xia armies dared not fight the Mongols on the open field and made no moves against them. Genghis Khan would return to Mongolia and declare war on the Jin dynasty in 1211. The Mongols would be decisively victorious in the field, but would be unable to take major cities. Over the next 2 years, Genghis and his highly developed military staff would devote significant resources to studying the art of assaulting fortifications. With the help of Chinese engineers, the Mongols gradually developed techniques to take fortifications. This eventually would make troops under the Mongols some of the most accomplished and successful besiegers in the history of warfare. By 1213, with an overwhelming number of victories in the field and a few successes in capturing fortifications deep within China, Genghis had conquered and consolidated the Jin territory as far south as the Great Wall. Genghis Khan, now well known for his quick and impressive military victories, would turn his attention westward. The Uyghurs and Turkic peoples would willingly submit to Mongol rule, to which Genghis Khan would reward them, marrying off his daughter and allowing them to serve as bureaucrats in the Mongol administration. The Mongols marched upon the Karakai, which were descendants of the Khitan Liao dynasty which had once ruled the steppes. Genghis would dispatch his generals to confront the main Khitai army. The Mongols would win a decisive victory, crushing the once powerful dynasty for good. The Mongols would then send envoys to Khwarezmid, seeking trade and proposing friendship. However, they would kill the Mongol envoy, infuriating the Mongols and giving Genghis Khan a pretext for an invasion. In 1219, the Mongols would invade and destroy the eastern part of the Khwarezmid Empire. A significant portion of the citizen population would be massacred, particularly in the cities of Khorasan. This would feed the Mongols' reputation for their ruthless conquest and slaughter throughout their subsequent campaigns. After conquering an empire that stretched from the Pacific Ocean to the Caspian Sea on August 18, 1227, Genghis Khan would die and would be buried in a secret location, as was the Mongol tradition. His successor would be his third son, Ögedei, who would be formally elected in 1229.